Hey, it's going to be due here in about 30 minutes, so I hope we get this postponed stuff.
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
A big thank you to the following sponsors who made this press conference possible on KLPS Channel 18. IV, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, Pony Express Bank, and The Landing.
Good morning. Thanks for coming in. Chris McCabe, head men's basketball coach, Liberty North. Last week was a short week for us as far as game action goes. We played Tuesday night at home versus Oak Park in a game that probably set high school basketball back about 5 or 6 years. This is no kidding. We shot 21.6% and won the game by 8. So. I'm kind of speechless about it. I was speechless after the game. Well, not entirely, but speechless for things to say, how to explain how it happened. But we were 8 of 37 from the field, which is 21.6%, which is the lowest we've ever shot in our program's history, and you win a game. So we've told our guys this, and any one of them could tell you, in a huddle in a close game or whatever the situation is, we tell them two things win games, and defense and rebounding. And we held them to 24%. We played without fouling, and then we were plus 16 on the rebound margin, 39-23. So there's your difference. When you're as bad as we were offensively, and boy, we were horrific. So, you go to 5-2 in conference. You win 2 conference games all last year, so we're hoping that with the next one we could triple our wins from last year. We're at 17 wins on the year, which means we've doubled our wins from last year. So there's so many good things that are going on that our guys are doing. Individually, last week was really cool. National Signing Day Wednesday. 8 of our student athletes at North. And then obviously Garrett for us was able to have a little ceremony to sign his letter of intent, which was really cool. It was neat. Mike Barrett, Jared Dotson, Max Jobson, Bailey Barnett, Megan Hummel, J.D. Williams, and Reed Morton were the other guys that signed. So congratulations to them. Really cool honor for the school, for those kids especially. This week will be a really interesting week and test where we're at. We go Wednesday. We go to Savannah in the middle of a week of court warming, a bunch of distractions, surely to be. So we go Wednesday there, and they're a good team. They're 12-8. They're a team that potentially, if we won our district and they won theirs, it'd be a Sweet 16 matchup. So there's a lot at stake. And then Friday we're home for court warming and senior night, which will be pretty special because I get to recognize the 2 guys that have done so much for us, Garrett and Tanner, on Friday night, and that's court warming. And then that's our last home game of the year, which is hard to believe. And then that next week we go to Platte County on Tuesday and to Kearney on Friday, and both are, legit opponents. So doesn't get any easier, but at this time of the year, none of that stuff gets any easier. So we're excited about it. Our guys, we took, after we played on Tuesday, we had Garrett's signing ceremony on Wednesday. We didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday to kind of get our guys some time off and try to get them fresh. And since they've been back, I've been really pleased with the way we've practiced. So I'm hoping it'll pay off Wednesday night, and we can play really well and start shooting the ball in the hoop a little bit more than we have been. So with that, we'll go to questions.
After shooting 21%, what do you do on that next practice back? Do you do shooting drills, or do you just run practice the way you usually would?
It's such a I asked myself the same question, and I don't know if I ever came up with an answer because I don't know. I had a conversation earlier this year with Dennis Bunch, who's one of our staff members who helps us with stats and analyzes a bunch of stuff for us. And we shot terrible from the foul line one night. We were 1 of 7 against Park Hill, 1 of 6 against Park Hill in the first round of the Jewel game. And we had a game against Harrisonville and a quick turnaround the next day. And Dennis emailed me some stats of our game versus Park Hill, and then of Harrisonville. And he said, I'm sure you addressed the free throw shooting with him. And, I didn't even speak of it because I don't think our guys are trying to miss shots. I've never thought a player tried to miss a shot. I never thought a player tried to turn over. Now the shot selection is a separate deal because I thought we took some terrible shots. But the other thing is we have shots from 8 feet that we aren't making. And so when you're not doing that, then, you start to press. But the thing about it is, as bad as we were, and as bad as we have been the last 4 games scoring the ball, we're still defending at a pretty good rate. We're still rebounding the ball, so that gives us a chance. Over our last 4, we're only shooting like 29% from the field. Like, it's unbelievable that we're 2-2 in that stretch. Opponents, luckily, are only shooting like 33. But, on the year, we're a 41.7% team from the field, and opponents are a 37.1. So, you got the field goal percentage defense number that we've got's very, very, very low for the year. So, it helps when you're a rebound margin +9 team average, and then we're a 70% free throw shooting team. So those 2 things cover up some deficiencies sometimes when you can't make shots.
At the signing day, you guys had each athlete would have their family come up, and you had your whole basketball team come up. Would you tell us something about that, or why you had them all do that, come up there with them?
Yeah, well, we tell our guys all the time that we're in it together. That we're family, that you care about each other, that you want to be around each other, to help each other and kind of go through things. And, Garrett's parents are outstanding. They support him. They support our program. And Garrett would be the first to tell you that the teammates are a big reason why he's where he is. And so, when they said, will the family members come up, our guys feel like they're with Garrett. They feel like they're a part of Garrett. Garrett feels like they're with him. So, it was neat. The guys, I think it'll mean something to Garrett. It'll really mean something to Garrett when you look back on it, and he'll see all those guys that are around and talk about all the times that they had. So, it was a cool deal, and it just kind of represents the right things with our program.
Coach, with court warming being this week, you have all these distractions. You have your dress-up days, you have the hype of the game, the dance after the game, the king and queen in between, and halftime. What do you do to keep your players focused?
Good question. You try to treat it like any other game, but because if you don't, then the guys get a little antsy, a little nervous about, well, why are we doing things different this week? So you just try to treat it like it's any other game, and we might say something to the captains and make sure that message gets out from them. But honestly, and I don't know, maybe this isn't the right thing to do, but honestly, not a lot different. We've been fortunate this year. We've been really, really fortunate to play in some big games. And, we tell our guys the next game's the biggest game of the year because it's the upcoming game's the biggest game of the year because it's the next game. And so that'll be no different. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We get a pep assembly on Friday. Everybody will be all excited about it. And our court warming's going to be a girls guys doubleheader. So we're going to get a good crowd again. We had it for the January 6-7 game, whichever it was against Lafayette, where the girls played before us, and we had a ton of people there for that. So I'd like to think there'll be, 1,500, 1,800 people there on Friday night, and recognize kind of the first senior night for us and for our girls, Alicia and Taylor for the girls. And, I think that the way we're doing it's a little different, which is cool. Having girls guys on the same night, and so then this way it's not a distraction. Let me get this right. The king is going to be crowned at halftime of the girls' game, and then the queen's going to be crowned at halftime of the guys' game, which is obviously selfishly great because then we don't miss out on any timeouts or have any distractions, or halftime rather, or have any distractions about our guys not being in there. So thanks to our student council and our AD Bob Cornell for kind of orchestrating something that's a little different. That I think is going to be neat. I think people will get behind it.
How do you think that benefits your guys playing in front of such a big home crowd compared to when they go on the road? It's not as big of a crowd, but there's the student section going against them. When at home, you got your student section and all the fans cheering for them.
Well, I think it's big. Just my points of reference. So when I was here, with Coach, it was like we were like Duke. Everywhere you go, everybody's best shot. The place is full every night. Everybody wants to beat you. And I know that prepared us for big games. And I think for a little while, I kind of took that for granted. Because then last year, we're trying to have a good year, trying to have some success. And honestly, we didn't play in many big games. Our coach's versus cancer game on the 27th last year. Place was packed, raised a ton of money for a great cause, but we get to the district championship game, and that's the first time we've been in a big game setting ever. And there were possessions and there were times in that game where I know that if we had played even just one game in a setting like we have this year, whether it's the Savannah Championship, Jewel Championship, here at the tournament, our home opener against Lafayette, Fieldhouse opener, then I feel better about those kind of settings. So it's a big deal, and you kind of when you're in and focused in on the season, you kind of lose a grip on how important that kind of stuff is.
So when you're in those big game settings like that, what do you do differently as a coach to keep the players, kind of going off the last question, keep players calm, when they're in the middle of that game and when they're in the heat of it and starting to get distracted?
Yeah, well, I've said it, and I'm not, trying to cop out, but you try not to do anything different. You try not to. Now, in those kind of games, hopefully you do less coaching because your guys are motivated, your guys are excited, and they got a really heightened awareness to what you're trying to do, what they need to do. Not a lot different, but I think that in those games, when they feel a little bit of pressure, we try not to put even more pressure on them. The pressure that we try to put on our guys is, from 3:30 to 6 every day at practice. And then, hopefully during a game, we can just situational coach and sub and do those things. But, sometimes we got to do stuff different, but hopefully nothing too different in those games. Be it for today. Thanks for coming in. As always, thanks for your support of our program. I really hope that this Friday you guys will be able to come on out and check us out against Staley, a big conference opponent, conference game, but also to recognize two guys who mean a lot to us who've done an outstanding job for our program with Garrett and Tanner on senior night. So hope to see you then. You guys ever need anything, or if there's anything we can do, please be in touch. We'd be glad to do it. Thanks.